Good afternoon, everybody. It is, thank you for that. It is 3 o'clock, so we'll get going here on time. Welcome to the Carver Earth Removal Committee for August the 5th. We are in the town hall, and unfortunately for you all, we've been banished back to the basement in meeting room 4. The select board is having a 5 o'clock meeting that they asked if we could be down here. Our meeting was going to go long, so for that I do apologize. I'm glad everybody does have a seat, so for that I am thankful. If everybody can silence their cell phones for me, because we all know how disruptive that can be. The board members will in fact be recognized first, and the audience during the open public hearings will be given a couple of minutes to talk, but no more. The chair, myself, or Roger as the acting chair, as the vice, has a right to stop any conversation if either one of us see fit. Please keep the comments to yourself unless you're called upon. And no outbursts, that type of stuff. It's just tough. Area 58, thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. Thank you for bringing all your gear down here. Is there anybody else recording today? And if you could state your name for the minutes, please.
Christopher Harting.
Did you guys get that?
Harting.
H-A-R-T-I-N-G, Harting.
Catherine Harrelson.
Is that with a K?
Yep, with a K.
Could you spell your last name, please?
Harrelson.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Meg Sheehan.
Perfect. Thank you for that, everybody. When you do get called upon to come up to the side table here, if you could sign the sign-in sheet, that'd be spectacular. So we can go for that. So moving on, I'll entertain a motion to accept and discuss the minutes of July the 1st from the board.
I'll start. This is when
You want to make a
I'll
motion
make a motion
to accept the minutes?
to accept the minutes with some adjustments.
Perfect. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roger and Judy and Roger.
And I will recuse myself from the vote.
Okay. You can abstain, you don't have to. We've been told that before, you don't have to abstain from the minutes vote as long as you...
I probably will.
Okay. So, any discussion on the minutes? Judy?
I was going to say page 2, when I said that, can we do it August 2nd? I think it was, we decided it was the 19th.
Yeah, after the fact, we
Right,
made
after
the...
that. So I don't know if that should be adjusted.
It should be adjusted.
Right, in the minutes.
Well, we did say whatever date it was at first, and then we did switch it afterwards, so the minutes would be correct, right? Because that's what we did talk about at that point. But we did hold the meeting on, the site visit meetings on the 19th instead.
I can make a note that it was changed after.
Perfect. Anybody else have any changes to the minutes?
Mr. Shores, not Mr. Rogers.
There you go. I was so glad he said that to you. You are consistent, so thank you very much. It's the first thing I noticed when I read it. Anybody else have any changes or amendments to the minutes as they are presented to us? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Mr. Ward abstains, so 4-0. Okay. Thank you. All right, so on to the next meeting date. Customarily, we are the first Tuesday of the month, which will be September 2nd. 3 o'clock works for all of us, and meeting room 1, depending on if we get kicked out again or not. It's not happened that many times, but September 2nd, does that work for anybody or not?
Works for me.
Works for me.
Okay.
That's fine.
Rob?
Does, that's good.
Okay. Mike?
Fine.
Okay, and Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Jen? Sue?
I will.
Stinker. So would you rather have us change it so you can be here?
I can have everything ready for you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
So
just make
it's-
sure everything's ready.
It's a day after Labor Day, which obviously makes it tough, so.
Yeah, I'll just have everything ready the week before.
Okay. So you'll be able to be here for,
Yes.
thank you so much. So September 2nd it is. And like I said, with any luck, we will have meeting room 1. As discussed previously, and I've got a larger audience than we've had in the last couple of meetings, so thank you all for coming. We are looking for volunteers to serve on this board. So I'm putting a call out there for anybody. You do that, you volunteer by asking the select board. They appoint to this board. We don't get to select whom. So anybody that's looking to be on the earth removal committee, I would highly encourage you to put your name to the select board. Okay. Okay, so we have bills payable. Mr. Woods, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for coming in. I do appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
So I got the bills for O&M, which total $11,949.71. I looked at the sheet, and one of which is a very large spend of $8,795 for Franklin Paint, new paint machine. So I asked Mr. Woods to be here and explain that for us, and I think it's going to be very simplistic. So with that, Mr. Woods, I give you the floor.
Yeah, so the paint machine was approved at, I don't know if it was the last meeting or the meeting prior to that. But yeah, so we purchased that paint machine from Franklin Paint for, like you said, $8,795. That would be used for all in-house painting, all handwork. We don't do any of the long lines, which are the main, the center lines and the fog lines on the main roads. Excuse me, we stick to stop bars, radiuses, school zones, things of that nature. So that will be used in-house for that. And another part of that, we bought some paint and some accessories for that new machine.
So I saw her at $8,795. I'm like, geez, I thought we just approved that. So this is just for the board and for the audience's knowledge that this is the same thing that we approved before. And I didn't want to have anybody concerned or confused that we were buying something else for $8,800 more.
Yes, no, it was just one machine.
So hence the reason why I asked you to come in. So
Not a problem.
thank you very much.
Do you want to go over any of the other bills, or is it pretty self-explanatory for the board, or it's up to you guys?
Well, I don't see anybody jumping to the podium here, so.
Pretty obvious.
So I will entertain a motion to approve or deny this spend.
I make a motion to approve the spend.
I second.
Okay. Roger and Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Can I
Any
get on
opposed? Any abstentions? 5-0. John?
Could I get on the agenda for the next meeting? I may
Okay.
be asking for some money for the long line painting.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So Jen, if we can put him on for that, because, yeah, that'll work. All right. Really appreciate your time, John.
No problem, thank you.
Have a great day.
You guys also.
All right. So as I've been doing previously, I'm going to ask, I'll start at my right this time for the discussion of the site visits that we conducted on the 19th.
Judy wasn't there.
Yep. Roger wasn't there, so when I ask you to say something, you can tell me you weren't there again, because I'll forget, I'm sure. We'll start with you, Mr. Pike. We'll start on the roads property.
Roads, yeah.
Yep.
I guess that was pretty much no activity there, from what I recall.
Yep.
I mean, so there wasn't a whole lot. Do you want to go through all three?
No, just we'll take all three independently. So Judy?
Yes, we went to Great Cedar on 0 Tremont Street. Their permit was to put in a water hole to water recovery. They did border the edge of the area with their boulders. The slopes were done as requested. And the only thing we need is we need it as-built.
Correct.
In from them in a closeout form.
So I'll go, same thing here, project looked done, there's no activity, of course. The permit is in fact still open. It's not active until we do have an as-built and we close it out. So everything looked okay to me at that site too. I will note that there was nobody from the organization there because it was closed. So I did talk to him. He allowed us on the property, and I did chat with him after that. So we did see it. Mike?
That was pretty much what I found, but I also understand that the applicant may be behind on payments, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so we can look into that at a future date.
Jen, can we look into that to see if the payments have been all made to date on in the last quarters?
Okay.
Thank you.
And that's about it.
Okay. Mr. Ward?
Same thing, final inspection was good, in my opinion, and we're looking for the as-built to finalize that permit.
Thank you. And I'll keep with you, Mr. Ward, if you want to go on to the Western Permit 102 at Plymouth Street, map 48, lot 8.
Yes, I don't have my report in front of me, but I remember it. It looks good. We talked about the dust situation, and he's approaching that. And we did have a request, and I think he's come before us, and that will come up later.
It will. Yep. Thank you very much.
So as far as the project itself, it's being completed, and it's a ways to go, but everything seemed good.
Thank you. Mike?
The applicant had requested 120,000 yards, but the plan had called for 161,000 yards. They had finished the bypass canal, and it just appears that they have to connect the canal into the water source in order to completion.
That's right. All right, same thing here. Bypass canal is completed. The slope is growing. The piles are getting moved. Some of the offending dust piles have been moved. They've been mixing some stuff up, hopefully to keep the dust down. I haven't heard a complaint, so that's a good thing. He is here in front of us, will be in front of us tonight to talk about adding to the permit, but for right now, everything looked like it was going along according to plan. Judy?
Okay, rear Plymouth Street, we went in for an update on the permit. As before said, it's a bypass canal. We also checked on the sand that was stored there in regards to the wind blowing this winter and the neighbors being affected by it. The area is neat. There is still a large hill of sand that's to be removed in the next well, since we had our visit on July. It might be in the process now, but it's going forward that they're going to be removing the rest that was permitted for. And at that time, we had discussion that they were going to be coming in front of us tonight for their original permit.
Rob?
So that's pretty much in line with what I saw. My understanding is that the owner was being proactive dealing with the abutters regarding the dust condition, which I wasn't doing this back then, but I heard about the whole thing and I discussed that while we were there. And my understanding is that he's taken care of a lot of those issues proactively. I guess most of the common fill is gone, and that wasn't what was causing the dust. Most of the whatever was causing the dust has been removed, and I guess the owner's looking to reduce the flow through the bog using the bypass canals, and they're connecting, basically removing material between the recovery areas to achieve that. And my understanding is they're looking to increase the yardage on the permit, probably in line with what the original proposal was, or the original plans. So
Thank you.
basically it.
All right, I'll go to Judy next at Great Cedar, permit Cedar Meadow, Cedar Meadow permit 101 on West Street.
This has not been an active earth removal. There was a representative there to bring us into the area. They're still keeping the permit open based on the legislation's law that allows them to. The area is clean, there was no stockpiles, there was one small pile of sand there that they use on the bogs in the area. And like I said, they have a 2-year extension, so the permit is still open.
I'll go to Rob next.
That's pretty much what I saw there, and I guess there's an issue of what soil was removed there, and I don't know if you want to go into that.
Absolutely, I'll talk about that when it's my turn, so yeah.
Okay.
But I'm with you.
My understanding is that it's unclear what was removed. The records look at
Absolutely.
looking at what was removed, but it's unclear that was actually removed.
Right.
So I'll let you speak to
Perfect. Yeah, so we were there, there was a representative there. Because it is an open permit on our books, we decided that we would go to the site even though it has been inactive. There is no activity going on. But on our long sheet, it does show that 33,000 yards have been removed. So with that, if we can look into that and see if...
I looked at that earlier. I could not find any backup that shows that it was removed, and there were no deposits
Okay.
for that amount of money recorded anyway.
So I'm thinking it's clerical at that
That's what I
point.
think, yeah.
Probably going back a little bit of time now, because that's been on our long sheet for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'd like to have you do is if there is no backup, and if you talk to the applicant for us, and make sure nothing's come off of that site, we'll be able to zero it out.
Okay.
So it doesn't look like there's been activity. With any luck, we'll find out where that 33,832 yards came from, or maybe it's a ghost.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything to match those numbers
Okay.
in our deposits.
So yeah, there is no activity there. There is a legal issue going on, so that's why there is nothing happening there. So it is in fact active on our sheet. It is inactive in reality, though. Mike?
That's pretty much what I found. The site was originally approved for 149,353 yards, and it appears they took out 33,848, but that's has to be proven. The site's in litigation apparently, and other than that, that's about what I found.
Excellent. Mr. Ward?
I don't really have anything to add to that, so just very inactive.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for being there. It is a Saturday morning. It's a pain in the neck to go look at these things, but it is absolutely our job, and it's worthwhile to go see what's going on. So for that, I thank you all for being there. All right, so that gets us on to the potential site visits for this next month. Do we see the need to go out?
I think we're gonna wanna visit the ADGA site, so maybe that's the way to go.
Okay. All right.
Is the 6th work for, this Saturday work for,
Does not work. Well, I can't be there anyway, so.
would this Saturday work for site visits at ADGA?
I could go.
I could.
What time, Dick?
Well, you tell me now about
Does it work for,
it working.
It works for us. Anytime you guys need, Saturday, anytime.
so we'd wanna visit both sites.
Absolutely.
So let's say 9 o'clock, start at,
Yeah.
which one do you wanna start at, Mayflower
It
Road?
was better than 8 o'clock.
Either one doesn't matter.
What's that, Dick? Better than 8?
Better than 8.
Yeah, 9 o'clock at Mayflower Road then.
Okay. Is there anything else you guys want to look at on that particular day, or starting at 9, you do the 2
We'll
sites?
do the 2 sites at 9.
Okay, so I can't be there anyway for recusal, and I'm not in town, so that works for me.
6th.
Yeah, August 6th.
9th.
Oh, is it tonight?
Today's the 6th.
Today's the 5th, so yeah, it wouldn't be the 6th, no, it wouldn't. It is in fact the 9th. That's why we discuss things.
So just to clarify, that's Saturday the 9th?
Saturday 9th, this Saturday,
Okay.
because the 6th would be tomorrow. Okay, so I think that's settled. Excellent. All right, at our last meeting, or maybe it was 2 meetings ago, Mike, you brought up the fact that you wanted to discuss the application fees.
Yes.
And if we have a right as a board to increase the application fees for earth removal permits going forward. At that point, I asked Jen to reach out to Amy, town council, and she did respond in kind. The answer is in the packet, which is available online as well, for everybody in the audience that wants to look at it. But it does give us the ability to do that. And it gives us the ability to increase that based on review and approval of the select board or its designee. So that goes back to the Town of Carver bylaws, 145-2. That's the last line in the section A. Section B says no fee shall be imposed or increased until a public hearing is held with respect thereto, and such new or revised fee is then posted at the office of the town clerk for at least 2 weeks prior to the effective date thereof. So that is the mechanism that gives us the ability to do that based on town council's opinion. So yes, we can do it. Yes, there are rules we have to follow to do that. So Mike, you brought this up. If you'd like to spearhead some of this, that would be great.
Well, some of the fees currently is a $100 application fee. I think that's pretty low. We usually have about 5 hearings-ish on that, and it comes out to be $20 per hearing. I don't think my time is worth $20. Or actually less because it's divided by 7. So I'm thinking of increasing the fees.
Okay.
Should we go over the amounts or?
I would love to hear what you're thinking.
All right. Currently it's one-time $100 application.
Yep.
I'm suggesting that we charge $100 for removal of 1,000 yards to 9,999 yards, and that will be just like it is. The next thing, I would increase the fee to $200 for removal of 10,000 to 49,999 yards.
Okay.
And then an application fee of $1,000 for removal of 50,000 yards to 999,000 yards.
Okay.
And then from 100,000 on into infinity, charge a flat rate of $2,000.
So from 1,000,000 yards all the way up.
From 100,000 yards to from 999,000 to
50 to 999, you said.
Right.
50 to 999 would be $1,000, and then 100,000 and above would be $2,000.
So 50 to 99,999.
Yep.
Yep. And then 100,000.
To infinity.
Yep.
A million.
Would be
And to whatever.
Not 100,000, but a million.
No, he's got it. He went from small up to 1999 for $100.
I got you. You're right.
2,000 yards to 49,000 yards for $200. 50,000 yards to 100,000 yards
50 to 100.
for $1,000, and $2,000 from 100,000 up. Okay. Anybody else have anything for that from the board?
I might comment on it, Scott.
Of course.
I like a graduated scale. I like that idea. And we have had a $100 fee for how long?
ever.
Right.
Forever, okay. So we really need to upgrade it with the cost of doing work and business, so that's where I would stand. I'd be supportive of pretty much maybe on that line.
Okay. Roger? Anything to add?
It's a big jump in fees from 1,000 to 2,000, but I'm willing if the board's willing.
Okay.
It seems like a lot.
My opinion, I think all the values with the amount of removal are reasonable.
Okay.
They play into the amount of revenue that goes either way.
Cool.
But then again, we have to be careful of our wording, and it's not revenue to us. It's an application fee.
Correct.
And it goes
Right.
with a lot of surrounding towns, the values of it.
So in Amy's email, she notes the general principle that fees charged by a city or town must be reasonable under the test articulated by the Supreme Judicial Court. In that case, the court identified 3 characteristics which distinguish permissible fees from impermissible taxes. So what I would like to do with, I love the discussion. I'd like to have Jen put that in an email form to Amy to see if she believes that that is permissible and what we have to do to institute that if it is in fact permissible under the bylaws and under just the general reasonable practices. So with that, do you guys have anything else?
It'd be interesting to know what other towns are doing.
Right. So maybe that can be a question for town council as well, because they
She may have a handle on it.
they do more than the town of Carver, I would suggest, even though I don't know. But there may be some precedent, if you will, elsewhere that will allow us to do this, and just to see if we're in line with other towns that have earth removal in process. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
So, Mike, great idea. I applaud you for your out-of-the-box thinking, and we'll see where it goes. So with that, I'll table this discussion till the next meeting. We'll continue it next meeting, when we'll have hopefully a response from Amy or somebody at K&P to let us know if it is in fact reasonable and permissible, what the mechanism is that gets us there. So, you guys all okay with that idea? Okay, beautiful. Again, I think that's really cool. Thank you. All right, Mr. Weston, you're up. Eric Weston is here with us as permit 102, as discussed in our site walk discussions. He has requested to be here tonight to increase his permit total yardage from 120,000, I believe, Eric, up to 168,000.
Oh my God.
As it was called for on the plans.
Correct.
That's incorrect. And those plans are from
So,
2010.
If you could,
Is there public comment on this?
could you give us some decorum, please?
Is there public comment?
Thank you very much. So we're gonna let the applicant speak and we'll decide from there.
Well, no, you have to announce a public hearing ahead of time. You can't just suddenly decide to have one or not.
This is a discussion right now.
So it's not a public hearing.
This is
So
not
no
a public hearing.
comment.
Nope.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
we'll just sit here and not say anything while he
Thank you very
does
much.
this outrageous activity.
Mr. Weston.
Thank you. Thank you, Board. As we saw and discussed at the site visit, again, I was kind of new to this, bring you back, 2019, I actually started the endeavor in looking into the project. It was advised me or suggested to me it would be best not to overestimate the amount of material that would be removed from the site. So, I picked a number, it was kind of a shot in the dark at 120. And, it was kind of said back in that time, if it indeed you will need to move more, you can come in for an amendment, and as long as you're not altering the plan. So I sit before you to not alter the plan, but to finish the plan as you have in front of you. But to notify you that to do this appropriately, more material than originally permitted will be leaving the site, but not in excess of the plan or design. And with no fundamental change to anything other than notifying you to complete it, I will need to remove dirt above what I initially asked for. In retrospect, having done, seeing how other things work and in time, we probably could have just gone by the plan originally and then, balanced it out with an as-built. But in 2019, when I had started it, that was the way it was kind of gone. And when 2021, when we did the permit, that's what was already in the pipeline and before the board. So that's what I continued with. And I want to stay within my permit. I don't want to remove material that I have not been advised or asked to remove. So I stayed here and asked for an amendment to the plan, and then we will rectify everything and correlate everything in an as-built at the end.
Okay.
So.
Do you have a total volume you've removed thus far?
I'm going from memory, but I believe if Jen has it, I believe we should be somewhere in the vicinity of 107 on the last quarter.
You're really.
On here it says 84. So I'll have to
Yeah, I think
double check everything.
I have all that document, so we can cross-reference with her, so.
Okay.
But I believe as the last quarter that I submitted, that's in the ballpark.
You're at 107.
Yeah, and I'll have the SLT rerun the numbers.
Okay.
But
Good. Questions from the board, comments from the board?
I think we still need my opinion, some more documentation in regards to the papers that we had on file.
Okay.
Yeah, we have no plans in our file.
Right. There are no original plan that we can go by. I'm new to all this, so I never was a part of your original.
Right. So
and for me-
the plan you brought in today for us,
Yeah.
is this the plan that you had submitted originally?
yeah, that should be an 8.5 by 11 copy, because that's what I have
Okay.
in file.
Yep, okay.
Yeah, I'll try to accommodate and get what you can. Your board in the town had multiple copies of the engineered plans and even some Google Earth representations that just fit the plan just for clarity that were presented publicly on a couple occasions. And you'll have to look at it. I mean, there's even a picture here that was taken when someone reviewed the plan on the table. You can see that that's the table in the office. So
Sure.
I don't know when it got reviewed by the public, if it got misplaced or whatever, but let me see what I can do to accommodate you. But yeah, you have the
got this
plan.
today.
So, well, yeah, because I was asked because you couldn't find the plans that you have.
Right. So I think, per Judy's request, and I think it's very valid, that if you can do some homework, find us an engineered copy, get it to us prior to our next meeting.
This is I'm not going to have this blown up. This is just a reduced version of that plan.
Yeah, so
in PDF format.
I know Jen's looked, the closet is the closet, right?
Because I had
you must have.
I had this professionally scanned, so it could be put into a PDF and I could keep an electronic copy.
Sure.
But is this the only sheet that was on the planner? Was this all they required, was the one sheet?
Yes.
Or is there a set of plans?
No.
This was what was presented and what was approved then.
Correct.
Okay.
It was what was asked for, presented.
So you are looking at the 3 board members that weren't here then, right? So that's, I can understand. Can you do me a favor and just keep your comments to yourself, please? Thank you very much. So at that point, you are looking at the 3 board members that were not present at the time the permit was issued.
Sure.
So that's hence the questions. I get it.
Nope. Whatever I can do to aid the board.
Anybody else have anything for Eric?
Well, what are we gonna do?
Well, that's what I'm trying to...
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Mike.
So you're about from 107 to 120, whatever the difference is.
Yep.
Now, the material that you're proposing to go to 161 or 168, where would that material come from?
Well,
Is it already excavated?
From the site visit to remove the material piled up that you saw, and then to just finish the last portion. If you look at your plan, as you saw, the new water construction and bypass canal is accomplished. It's just the widening and interconnection of the two that has to be removed. So those would be the two materials that would be removed, and we're estimating that it certainly will take us over the 120.
Okay.
So in
How
order
much
to,
is left to dig, Eric? Do you have an estimation of how many yards are left to actually dig to finish your canal?
I don't, I wasn't asked, Timber, I don't have a prepared number for that. I mean, we can do some linear square footage, but it is the smallest part of the project. Like, I think if you look at the size of the water hole that's dug, and now if we go to the interconnection, I mean, it's not science, but I'd say 70% is accomplished and 30% needs to be done.
So the majority of the sand has already been excavated, and it's sitting in
That
piles?
would be a fair statement.
So you're estimating, Eric, that 168 is, as it was submitted, will be the total anyway?
Yes.
Yep, okay.
So what I think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm just trying to understand here. The profile on the map calls for 168. You guys came in at 120, even though you thought that you'd go to that 168 at the end.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah, we were unclear about how much material would not be leaving the site.
And the other piece of the question is, you're not talking about going any larger than what you've got depicted here on the plan.
No.
So it is just to finish the project that's the plan is depicted at.
If you remember from the site walk, for those that were there, when we were on the loom to berm edge of the new pond as it came around, it was just drawing that straight line, which you can see in the plan, to come up and interconnect with the old one. So it's just digging and sloping. So even the digging that has to remain will be almost immediately be sloping, so it'll be diminishing as it comes up. So it'll be that material and then the material that's piled, which we would certainly like to get out of there. You know, have it unpiled and get it out of there.
Sure.
And then the new material will not be piled high and will be removed soon after it is done.
So what I think I'm hearing you say is that this will not add to your timeline of the project at all.
I do not anticipate any extension.
Yep, okay. This is in fact the only plan that he has. We are just all looking at it now. Most of us have been to the site. Roger, you've been there before. You weren't with us this last time, but you were with us before. What's the board's pleasure? Mr. Wood?
My feeling is that I would like to okay this, if there's a need to okay, yep. And because I want this project to be completed. We've had some dust problems, he's taken care of that. I think that at this point, we need to go forward and complete the project.
And if it helps the board, that other map I gave you was some variants, but there's a drone photo there with the plan overlaid on it, just so you can give reference to your site walk. It was before the tailwater extension was dug, the new part, but I thought it might, I always think pictures give some clarity as opposed to engineered drawings.
Absolutely. Pictures are, because we have been to the site, we can see it, and it's very, very different looking than, like you said, just a sheet of paper. With that, I tend to agree with Mr. Ward. I'd like to see this project, the yardage extension from 120 to 168 tonight. But It's totally up to you what the board's pleasure is.
I can make the motion that we proceed and give him the permission to move right up to his 168,000 that we initially okayed.
So from 120 to 168,000 per the plan.
Right?
What plan?
The one we're looking at that we have up here.
Oh, the-
Do I have,
the public?
do I have a second?
Yes, second.
Okay, Roger. Any discussion from the board? We have a motion and a second to approve going from 120 to 120,000 to 168,000.
I just don't think that we're doing something actually new.
Right.
This was what we okayed in the beginning, in the first plan. So that's why I feel we should proceed and finish the job. Have him, he can finish the job, and that would be beneficial to the neighbors.
My biggest concern is getting the material out of there because of the dust.
Right.
So,
And my comment will be, when is it going to be completed then? If it's voted on and approved tonight, when is the expected completion time?
All I can do is, since I am not the person that digs and sells, is to tell you I would like it done as soon as possible, and the anticipated timelines they've given me is they will make good headway later this summer and through the fall, and anticipate finishing in the spring. So, and again, winter is you never know. They may make progress in the winter, they may not, and that's weather dependent, as you probably have seen at other projects. So,
is it about saleability of the material you have on site?
not currently. Again, the information I have, not currently. Right now, they're just on a hiatus in between two phases of a project where it's committed. The minority of the common fill material left on phase one. There's a hiatus while they redo whatever they engineer or move on to before they need the next phase. And they're in between that. And then they're going to remove the road gravel pile, and the gravel pile will be screened and removed.
So, and I hate to keep saying this, being new to this, do you have engineered plans for the extra that you want to do?
They're in the plan that I had, so I'm not changing or altering what was requested was a lower estimate than the engineered plan
Can you
showed.
show us on this?
Right here.
Yeah, it's a 2020.
So the request was based on not the size and scope of the project, it was the material that would be removed. They're subject. Does that make sense? I'm trying to answer your question.
No, I get it. It's just that the two pieces of paper that I have here don't add up to me. So when you, like the application that was submitted on 9/3/21 says 100,000 to 120,000.
Yeah.
And the question was, why didn't they put that on the application, the 160? So that,
The answer to that is I put the application in, and as I stated, I was new to this, and it was advised of me to, going back, and again, not to 21, but going back, not that it makes a difference, but 2019 being 6 or 7 years ago, when I first started this, and then there was a delay before we came back before 21. But it was suggested to me to not overestimate the amount of material that I would physically remove from the property. So I came in at the lower amount, and it was suggested at the time, don't overestimate, just come in and then you can amend and with the actual amount that you remove from the property. So
I
that's,
get all
that's
that
what I'm
now.
doing.
Thank you for clarifying that. The other thing is, what are the chances of you getting us the original one? Because the papers that we got tonight, there's some of it missing.
I'm assuming, I just gotta look, found out about this 2 hours ago, and that I should have my copies. They might not be ironed, but I should have my copies. There were, again, I hope you solved the problem. There were 7 originally.
No, and I get what
So-
Mr. Ward is saying. He wants most of these projects to end. You don't want to keep dragging them out because it affects the residents.
Well, I think what I'd like to do is we have a vote, we have a motion and a second on the table. We are still in discussion. Mike, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I have an additional question.
Sure.
When the project is complete, will you have any piles of sand left in the site?
In the front corner of the site, the exact middle of the property, there will be a 10,000 yard pile, which will be engineered out, but that's what it's supposed to be, of coarse bog sand for maintenance and sanding.
That area, you can land a fleet of helicopters on it. It's so large. Could you take the pile down and make maybe 2 5,000 yards? That way it's not up high. When the wind comes, it'll blow, and it'll stay low to the ground, and then it will hit your land that's 3-to-1 slope and stay on the property and not impact your neighbors.
So I can certainly talk to the contractor about maybe bulldozing it, as opposed to, it's a significant cost for them to separate the piles, and then to separate the piles, they're gonna height at the top of a stacker, so they then have to be bulldozed again. We can look to lower it, and I would like to appease the board, but within reason. There's a keeping point to this where the piles flatten out over time on their own.
Okay.
And it, can be problematic. Also, when we go to use these cultural practice-wise, the pile usually has some site to it because it freezes with frost when we sand in the winter. So you end up having to break apart that to get into the heart of a pile. So when it kind of has a crown to it, you can kind of get into unfrozen sand. But we have sprayed it with glue. We can do that, on occasion if it becomes a problem. But it has been noticeable so far visually that being coarse bog sand, it really hasn't been the offending issue.
Okay.
And when it does, it doesn't travel very far. I certainly don't want it to blow away. It's far too valuable to the farm for maintenance and routine sanding.
And you can understand why the question comes, right? So
Absolutely.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
So we've got had some discussion from the board. I'm going to allow a couple of questions, 2 minutes only, from the audience. 2 minutes. Hold
Suggest
on.
first if there's any abutting residents.
There you
to
go.
this,
Thank you.
First, because they're the ones that are affected by it.
Are there any
residents?
residents that are abutting? That's a great point, Judy. Thank you.
Anybody from Leonard Street or Plymouth Street here?
Do you want to do the timer?
So what I will tell you is I'm gonna entertain 3 questions from the audience, and they will be no more than 2 minutes each, or comments. So if you can stand up, state your name, sign in for us, that would be great.
So I just have a quick question.
Yep.
I thought the bylaws said that after a year, you needed an extension.
That is why we go out on the site visits annually.
Right, but was this extended after a year?
It has been extended because we've seen it.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Thank you. So that's
And
one.
where is that in the bylaws so I can look it up?
If you read the bylaw, you should be able to see it pretty clearly. It's in section 136.
But it says that they have to come in for an extension.
After their permit, their issuing of their permit. If they're issued a permit for 3 years, they have to come in before the permit expires. But if they get a yearly permit, I see what you're saying, but I believe how it works is when they fill out an application of the expected time that the project's to be done, we go out on site visits, make sure everything's in compliance. If it's close to that 3 years that they're up, then they have to come in to get it extended.
Okay.
The way I understand it is the board may require that.
Well, it says no permit shall be issued for a period in excess of 12 months. However, permits shall be extended beyond 12 months if the ERC is satisfied with all the quarterly reports regarding the project and that the work is carried out under the plans.
So That is why we don't hold public meetings for annual extensions.
Oh, okay.
And then
Thank
after
you.
5 years, we have to hold a full public.
At 5 years, close it. If the applicant wants to continue the permit, they will end up having an as-built, they'll close the permit out, then they can refile after 5.
Thank you.
Sorry, can I get your name, please?
Oh, Mary Dormer, thank you.
Anybody else? In the back, please.
My name is Catherine Harrelson, and I'm with Community Land and Water Coalition, a Plymouth-based nonprofit organization.
Yep.
I'd just like to state for the record several observations I've made about the Eric and Elaine Weston site at 0 Rear Plymouth Street. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you. Several observations that I've made. I have personally walked down Leonard Street. I have personally seen residential properties covered in sand from this site. Sand on windowsills, sand on driveways, sand on the patio pavements, sand on pool covers. I'm gonna leave it there. I've seen sand covering Leonard Street, which is a publicly maintained thoroughfare by the town of Carver.
And we have addressed those situations, as has the applicant addressed them after we brought them in. You've been here at all those meetings to hear what we've talked about.
Yeah.
None of us are satisfied with what has happened.
Okay, but I'd like to state two other things.
Okay?
I have been told by residents on Leonard Street that they are concerned for the safety of little children because the site is an open pit and children go onto the property because it's unsupervised.
They trespass on the property?
We're talking about children here. We're talking about very little children. Yeah.
So, all right, I'm gonna stop it right there because that is not something, if the residents wanted to be heard on that, they're not here.
But I've been told.
They're not here. So, listen, I've tried to do my best. You're interrupting.
Thank you. Let me continue.
You're interrupting, so
Okay.
bear with me.
So we're talking about little children here, and I've been told by adults that they have a fear for the lives of these kids from engulfment from the piles of sand on this property, which is unsecured, and there's no security provided on this site. I also received a phone call from another resident of Leonard Street who said that they can't open their windows when this mine is in operation because they said if they open their windows, it would be eating dirt. I mean, that is a resident of Carver who said that they would be eating dirt. Furthermore, these plans are not in compliance with the earth removal bylaw. They're from 2010. I don't see a stamp by a professional engineer on these plans.
Thank you very much.
I have two more points to complete.
No, I think your time is
There are many
up.
environmental conditions that are not, that the plans are not in compliance with.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
You guys heard the rules from Joe. I'm sorry, because this will go on all night if we don't do that.
Oh, really?
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to get through.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to get through. So, Catherine, thank you very much for your comments. I'm gonna let Meg go.
I just want to.
No, I'm gonna let Meg go. And she's got 2 minutes.
Just about one of the residents.
I'll cede one of my minutes to Ms. Dormer.
No, we're not doing that anymore. I'm done with that.
Well, I would just like to state to the board, the committee, that I was at the Earth Removal Committee public hearing in 2021 when this permit was granted. And as Ms. Harrelson indicated, the plans are from 2010. They are not stamped by an engineer. At the time that the plans were submitted to the ERC, Mr. Gilmore was deceased. This is a fraud. It's an attempt to use the agricultural exemption of the earth removal bylaw in order to mine sand and gravel out of the Plymouth Carver sole source aquifer. And you have just talked about fees and compensating the public for the destroyed roads that the trucks ruin. What are you going to do to compensate the residents of this neighborhood who indeed have contacted us to report the sand, which has since been tested by Olin College of Engineering and determined to be respirable crystalline silica that is carcinogenic and regulated by the Office of Mine Safety and Health Administration to prevent silicosis in mine workers. So whether he divides the piles in two, Mr. Harrison, you approved this in 2021, and you were here too, Mr. Ward. What are you going to do to compensate these residents for the loss of the use and enjoyment of their property that they have experienced since this strip mine began in 2021?
Thank you for your comments.
You're welcome.
Okay, so with that, I'm gonna call the vote. Listen, I said three questions, 2 minutes.
Mine's not a question, I just want.
I'm sorry, please, just a little bit out of order here,
One
so.
of the residents was here, but you said that there would be no public comment, so he left. Oh, well, that's on you.
Why is there no public?
So you can't have it both ways. Either you get mad because I don't give you public comment, or I give you public
There
comment.
should always be public comment.
So that's what I'm doing.
So you
Okay.
told
I
people no
understand,
public
but-
comment?
Again,
Because you
I'm
said no
I'm stopping this line of questioning right now.
Because that's what-
Let's have a vote on this whole thing, whether it's up or down.
There's people that still want to speak.
Yep, that's okay. Thank you.
There's lots of people
Thank you.
that would like to speak, just making it.
Yeah, thank you.
No, it doesn't fit into
I'm
their agenda.
gonna call the vote.
Doesn't fit into the agenda.
Unconstitutional.
I'm sorry. Judy, you had something?
Unconstitutional.
Stop, please.
We don't have to.
I can ask you to leave then. I really don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
These hearings are a sham. Farce. Have you seen the
So
pictures?
we'll have the vote, please. All those
Back
in,
to Mary's comment, the residents, it would have been nice if they submitted letters to you that you could have.
But that's
given
not a
to us.
requirement.
No, I know, but it would give you more teeth in your argument. if
But
somebody-
that's not my duty.
okay,
That's
so,
not- I don't
Judy,
this board.
I know, I was
And we
just,
didn't
thank you.
know.
That's enough.
There was no notice, there was no notice.
Honestly,
If this goes on, I'm
this was
go-
already approved
If-
before you sat down here tonight.
The amount of time you give.
Just like
What
every
I
other
would
thing in
like to
front
do
of
is
you.
move on. Respectfully,
Of course,
I would
because
like to move
You're
on.
the biggest
It-
coward in town.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate the comments.
You're welcome.
How much
we're not here for that.
for?
So in regards to Eric and Elaine's permit number 102 on 0 Plymouth Street to go with 168,000 cubic yards
With no
as
plans.
their original plan, and they will have to submit something to us on the
We have a
contingent-
motion and a second on the table already.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Ward put it out there a while ago to approve this,
Yes, I did.
and Roger seconded it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I oppose because I don't have all the information.
Any abstentions? 4-1. Thank you very much.
Forewarned, causing silicosis.
Cannot wait to bring them into
It's
court.
abutting a toxic dump.
Thank you.
All right.
And you're selling cranberries there.
So moving on to the continued public hearing for Route 44 Development LLC, located off Green Parkway, FK, formerly known as Montello Street, map 20, lot 2, for the public hearing for Bowler Engineering. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman.
How are you today?
You sign in, George?
Sure. You'll have to excuse me. One thing I accomplished today was breaking my glasses before I came here. Actually, you know, I'm going to have my son sign me in so I can be efficient.
There you go.
And address the board. I have been before the board numerous times. We had a nice site walk. I feel, at least my feeling was, the board was on the cusp of approving our application, and then town council, Questle, raised an issue. And I know there were meetings between some of you and the town planner, and I'm not saying that anything untoward was done or whatever. This is how government works, and as a result of that, the town council came up with an opinion, and the opinion I strongly disagree with, but as you know, the opinion is that there can be no earth removal from our site until we receive site plan approval from the planning board. As you know, I'm an attorney. You have your own attorney. Your attorney and I disagree. Well, what do people do? You listen to your own attorney. You don't listen to the attorney on the other side of the table. I think that's just common sense. And although I'd like you to listen to me, I know you're not going to listen to me. I just want to have it clear on the record that I disagree respectfully with that interpretation. But that being said, I've had really good, I feel, negotiations with you people, meetings with you. We had a great site walk. I've spent a lot of time and money on engineering, and I feel that we satisfy all of your criteria. So what I would ask the board to do is to approve our application with the understanding that you're going to condition it upon site plan approval from the planning board, which is what town council has advised you to do. And in fact, that is what the planning board has done. They have approved our definitive plan, but they've said you cannot remove any earth from that site other than for the road until you come to us with, and you get site plan approval for each lot. I disagree with that law. We have taken an appeal to the land court so we can have the judge decide it. And so what I'll do here is, if you give me this decision, I'll appeal that too, because that's what we have the courts for. And I'm not saying this in a threatening way. I think it's helpful because you people are in a bit of a bind, because my position is the planning board cannot tell you what to do. You're your own independent board with your own independent powers. That's what's happening here, and your attorney has advised you that this is the way it should be. I disagree, but that's what we have the courts for. So, it's not going to be any big trial or anything. We're going to file our briefs. We've had very congenial discussions with your counsel. I mean, when you have a disagreement, you can be a professional or you can be nasty. I choose to be a professional, and we have a disagreement. You people are sitting here working hard, trying to do the right thing, doing the right thing, and we have a disagreement on this legal issue. So we'll let the judge decide it, and then that will help you folks in the future clarifying your powers. So I think ironically, it will be a good thing for all.
And I agree with you. So I know that you had a court date prior to our last meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm presuming that went as you thought it would. And have you got a decision from the judge at that point?
No. What the judge decided at that hearing was, because I raised the issue with the judge of, well, I have to bring the ERC issue before the court too, because the planning board's telling the ERC they can't issue the earth removal permit without having that condition. So it's the same issue that's before the court on the planning board. So what town council and I and the judge decided was, all right, go to your hearing before the ERC on August 5th, get their decision, and then take an appeal from that decision, and the same judge in the land court, which is the place where things like this should be decided. You have the land court is part of the Superior Court, but you have the general Superior Court like you have over here in Plymouth Superior Court. The problem with that is when you're dealing with very technical issues like this, as you may know, you may have a judge who hasn't dealt with any real estate issues ever, that was a former assistant district attorney. So when you have technical issues like this, everybody agrees that the best place to go is to the land court, because you're before judges who have spent their whole careers, both as attorneys and as judges, deciding earth removal issues, zoning issues, town bylaw issues, and similar things. So that's one thing Attorney Questle and I agree upon. We should be in the land court. We're happy with the judge we're before. We'll file our memos, argue our case, and let the cards fall where they may.
So just so I'm clear, what are you asking for from us tonight?
What I'm asking for from this board is to approve the earth removal permit with the condition that no earth can be removed without us first obtaining site plan review from the planning board. And that's what that's what the planning board did, and that's what Amy Questle has instructed you folks, and that's what the town planner has basically said. I know you had that meeting, a couple of you were at it, and there was a meeting where, I think I have it here. I think it was back in January. Bear with me a minute.
Was that January this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You guys weren't here.
No, I wasn't here.
So what I will tell you is that I have seen zero correspondence from town council
Yeah.
on this.
Okay.
So what I'm inclined to do is continue this without any discussion, without anything, until we do hear from town council on this very scenario.
Fine. I think that makes good sense, so that,
I called you back a little over a month and a half ago or so. We did have a very good conversation. In regards to this particular scenario, and I agree with you, by the way, I'm gonna listen to town council.
right, well, I like it.
I'm gonna listen to our attorney, right? This is how it goes.
That's how it works.
So what I would be inclined to do, provided the board is on board with it, is to continue this meeting until we have an opinion after the judges
Well, no, it'd have to be,
from town council before next meeting.
right.
Whatever you guys have done, I haven't heard. I knew that you were going to court with the town over this, and I am not inclined to do anything without town council's opinion on it.
I think that makes total sense. I think that makes total sense. But you understand where I'm coming from, because assuming my inference was correct, that I was on the border of getting your approval, then all I'm saying to this board is it doesn't make sense to do the thing all over again. Town council has an opinion. If you allow the permit with the conditions that town council advises you about, then you're protected, you're following town council, and then we go to the judge. So if the judge says, yes, I agree with Amy Questle, this is a proper condition, so be it. If the judge says, no, this is an improper condition, as I feel, we don't have to file another application, do the site walk again, and go through everything we've all been through. Because I feel, and again, I don't mean to put words or thoughts into this board's mouth, but I felt like we were all on the same page. And then this kind of curveball came in from Mr. Bott and from town council, but, that's what happens.
And again, that's how we tend to work as a volunteer transient board.
Yeah.
Is we ask the professionals that the town hires to steer us in the appropriate direction.
And I understand that. That's what I'd do if I were in your shoes.
Yeah, of course it is. So for that, what I will do is I'll take a motion to continue this hearing until our September date.
So
Okay, Roger.
Second.
And all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
And
Thank you so much.
I was going to say thank you for bringing a lot of things to light that some of
It's-
us didn't know.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I really feel like we've had good communication and covered a lot of ground, and there's a legal issue, and that's what the courts are for. So, I spend my life in court. It's another day in court. Another day at the beach, as I tell my family. When is that hearing?
It is September the 2nd
Okay,
at 3 o'clock.
great.
With any luck, like I said, we'll be up in meeting room 1, provided we don't get
Good.
kicked out again.
All right, well, thank you, folks, and see you the day after Labor Day, I guess.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes, yes, you will.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Roger.
Okay.
And recuse
So you
myself.
never opened, just for the record, you never opened the public hearing.
You are correct, and I'm sorry for that.
And so are you, oh, you're sorry?
I am.
What about the open meeting law and due process? So are you allowing public comment?
We just closed it, so we're going to continue it till next month. And I am going to recuse myself for the next
The
2.
public meeting hasn't been closed, we're continuing.
Well, it was a public hearing, and he was supposed to open the public hearing to take testimony under the law, which he never did. So this testimony is invalid because it was never taken pursuant to a public hearing that he opened. So
Everybody.
And
Good luck.
also,
to talk forever and do not on and on about his
and also there's
legal
safety.
practice, but you won't listen to the public to talk about the silica dust impact of this project.
There's a safety issue with the PFAS site.
Okay, we're going to carry on, please. Yeah, please,
That
thank you.
could impact people's wells that are abutting this site. And I think, you know, if it was a public hearing, that you should listen to residents who are concerned about their wells being impacted with a PFAS site on this property. It's
How about
just,
we find out if, when we're still continuing a public hearing based on gathering information from the applicant, at what time we can, if you can allow the public to speak in the meantime.
Sounds
How about
good.
we
that's what
work on
public
that?
hearings
That's what
are
a public
for.
hearing is for.
But it's been
Evidence.
continued.
There are
Evidence
people,
from the public,
there are
not just the
people
applicant.
that I know with wells that abut this PFAS site, and if you're taking our filtering sand out of that site,
Scott has closed that.
then they are at risk.
Move the question.
And who's gonna fix their
We're going to
wells?
move on.
Yes.
We're going to need to
I
move on.
guess you don't care.
No, you-
I guess you really don't care about people's water supply.
Rebecca. Thank you.
At least they have water.
At least they have water, is that what he's saying?
Moving sand.
Okay,
What was that, Mr. Ward? You can't mumble in a public hearing. It's against, in a public meeting, it's against the open meeting law.
Please,
That was an
Michelle.
open meeting law
Please.
violation. You're just mumbling to your friend over there.
okay, go ahead, Dick.
I said,
What did you say?
I said, I believe that taking the sand out of the ground is not contaminating the water.
There's a big PFAS
That's a
site
conversation
out
for another-
there. Sand filters water. The
This is a
USDA
discussion for
says
another
that.
time, please.
No, the USDA says it.
She
No, you're-
asked,
Please stop.
You should-
Drainage asked what
Please.
I said. I said this to him.
I think you
That's all.
should look into the USDA, you know, methodology and what this says all over the internet about how
Please, please.
water.
Thank you.
Rebecca.
No, it's from the USDA.
I'm going to call a recess,
So we
and that's
need
the
to-
next process, and then, please.
Thank you.
Okay. I just care about people, I'm sorry. Sue me.
Okay.
Okay, on the next item, for the Adga Realty located at 25 Fuller Street, I understand that's a mistake. It's actually 00 Fuller Street, according to the assessor's map. Is that right, Judy?
0 Fuller Street,
0 Fuller Street?
it's supposed to be. Not
The
25.
applicant failed to send butter notices out, so we're going to have to push this off until the next meeting.
And can you, on your next agenda, can you put the correct address and so you don't mislead people?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. That's why I brought it up.
September 2nd.
Yes.
September 2nd.
Thank you.
All right, I'm inclined also to put off any discussion for any new permits without the resolution of the current violation. But with that said, the bylaw requires that when an application is submitted, that within 65 days, we open a public hearing. So we will open up the public hearing for Agda Realty. I need a motion to open the,
I make a motion to open the public hearing.
On which property?
0 Mayflower Road, map
Thank you.
122, lots 2, 4, 10, and 18.
have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Judy?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to ask that Adga first present, and then I will open this up for public discussion. We're going to stick to the rules of 2 minutes per. And Machine, did you have a slideshow you wanted to present? Do I understand that?
I'm going to cancel it, I'm sorry.
You're going to cancel that? Okay.
Hi. Good evening, Chair and Board, and everyone else. My name is Craig Medeiros. I am the attorney for ADGA Realty. I just wanted to first start by submitting the green cards for service of this application.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What piece of land is this? What?
Zero Mayflower Road, map. Yeah, we said this, but I'll repeat it for you again. Map 122, lots 2, 4, 10, and 18.
Map 122 doesn't exist any longer. Hasn't existed for a while.
That's not accurate according to the assessor's records.
That I don't know.
Well, I went to the assessors to look up the information. So not only was no information at the town clerk's office, which she certified, there was all new maps have been, and there's no 122.
A certified abutters list has been submitted to the application, certifying that map 122 doesn't exist.
So who are you, sir?
My name is Stephen Crawford. I'm 88 Mayflower Road. I'm
Okay.
a butter
All right.
to the project.
And the thing is, we're luckily at Town Hall, and they're on till 7 tonight, so if we took a recess, if it's allowed, I'd go upstairs and see what the situation is with that. Because if you look at some maps, it does list it as map 122, but there is another GIS that they use on their website, so I don't know if that's different.
Right, there's a different referencing system.
Right, so, I mean, for clarification purposes, I mean, I don't know how you want to handle it, but when I looked it up, it is map 122, lot 2, 4, 10, and 18.
That is correct, and like I said, it's consistent with the certified abutters list, which was submitted with the application.
Right, so,
So is this something we need to look into? Is this?
well, if that's an error, then we can't issue a permit based on...
Can I see what you
We're
have?
issuing a permit tonight, so...
No, right.
We're not issuing.
So
a
we
permit.
could find this out.
And I had the original from the lawyer.
Where does it say there's no map 122?
It doesn't say that. You have to go upstairs and look at the maps. And you'll see there's no map 122.
Are you talking the hanging maps in the hallway?
Yes.
I just looked online, so I don't know. And from what the papers that we got from the applicant, from their surveyors, so...
Correct.
And this was the same information that was submitted during your last application on this property.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Would you like me to continue?
Please.
Okay. So just to reiterate, I'm Craig Medeiros. I am the attorney for ADGA Realty. I do have with me tonight Neil Tea from ADGA Realty, Patrick Carrera from PNP Consulting, who's the project engineer, and I have Mike Diamond from Ryco Excavating. Ryco is performing the potential excavation at this site. As you can see, this plan and submittal is substantially similar to the previous earth removal permit, which was submitted by Fruit Dior, of which I was also the attorney. The scope of the project has been significantly reduced as the revised earth removal plan reduces the proposed reservoir to 7.45 acres from 10 acres, which was the initial proposal. And the total excavation volume has been reduced from 640,000 yards to 445,000 yards. Part of the impetus for this reduction was to stay out of all of the wetlands buffer zones. So pretty much we stay away from the cranberry bogs, which are deemed wetlands, towards Tremont Street. The project was reduced by approximately 2.5 acres to stay away from those wetland species, which keeps it out of jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. Very similar to the board's consideration of the previous permit, which was discussed quite a few times, and also in consultation with a number of the neighbors, which I've talked about the project with, we're proposing a number of conditions for this potential permit. Like I said, the total excavation is now 445,000 yards. All the excavation and construction of the tailwater recovery pond would be pursuant to the submitted plan. The hours of operation would be Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday from 8 to 1, giving deference to school buses as well as special events such as King Richard's Fair. The truck direction would be limited in one direction, coming to and from Route 58 onto Mayflower Road. No traffic would be allowed coming from Tremont Street or to Tremont Street for this project. The truck exit route will be located on Mayflower Road close to Route 58, which is what the board had previously requested. Initially, we had a entrance and exit which was closer to Tremont Street, but it had worse visible sight lines. So we relocated that, and that is where the entrance and exit is located. The maximum number of daily truckload trips will be...
Can I
Sure.
edit this as you go?
Sure.
So, the truck exit, you have in there, you're referencing the
Beals and
drawings by
Thomas plan,
Beals and
correct.
Thomas?
So this is consistent with the second Beals and Thomas plan, which is referenced in this letter.
So that should stay the same?
It technically is the same entrance and exit from that revised Beals and Thomas plan. The reason I was referencing it is we revised the Beals and Thomas plan at the request of the board to relocate that entrance and exit.
Okay.
Like I said, we're looking for a maximum number of truckload trips of 50 per day round trip. Inspection fees to be paid to the town of Carver quarterly.
It's 25 cents is our tolling rate.
Yeah, whatever, and if that rate changes, we'd obviously adjust the permit accordingly.
Yeah.
There'll be no staging of trucks on Mayflower Road. All of the staging will be performed in the designated staging areas. There will be asphalt and recycled material towards the apron entering on the site for 100 feet to mitigate any dust from the trucks which are performing the earth removal. The project would be completed in 3 phases per the plan. Each phase would be approximately 150,000 yards. The last phase would be slightly less, because the project is only 445,000 yards. No work would be performed until there's an as-built at the end of each phase, which as-built will be performed by the engineer, which certified that the work would be completed pursuant to the plans which are submitted to the ERC. I know a big issue has been dust mitigation. We are agreeing to provide an intermittent watering truck and irrigation when necessary. We'll also agree to any future conditions applied by the board to mitigate any dust mitigation. Like I said, we'd be open to using glue or any other methods which the board deems appropriate to mitigate this dust. One thing which is helpful in this particular case is we are wet mining this project. It's not a case where just a cranberry bog is being constructed, so there'll be less dust than normal because it will be wet mined. One condition which I discussed with the neighbors is the establishment of an escrow account in the event that any wells run dry as a result of this excavation. I do have several of the neighbors named in this permit, which I had discussed this with. We agreed to put $25,000 in escrow account, which I would hold in my client funds account, provide proof to the board. And then if any claim were made against that $25,000, we would pay for the well repair or reinstallation, and then that account would be replenished to $25,000 thereafter.
How did you come up with the names of people?
So I actually talked directly with Don Egan, Douglas Banker, and I believe there's one other party I spoke with directly, but then Don Egan actually reached out to all of her neighbors. So that was the neighborhood group that seemed interested in the permit. So it's everybody that I was able to talk to directly and everybody that Don was able to reach after discussing the matter. Like I said, if there's somebody else that's interested, I'm happy to add them onto this list as long as they're located relatively close to the actual project.
Okay.
So if that's a concern and the neighbor is interested, we'd be happy to amend this list.
Yeah, I just don't know if a butter that's not on the list that has a problem, if
Sure.
we're specifying that it's just for these people, or
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
for
they
abutters in general.
The abutters specifically want to be named in the permit. When I discussed it with them, they didn't want it to be general. And from our standpoint, it has to be some sort of line. If somebody's like 3,000, 4,000 feet down the street, like we don't necessarily want to cover them either. But if there's anybody that's located directly close to the excavation, we'd be happy to establish this for their benefit.
I think I'd like to see some sort of
map
or something that
Sure.
shows these are the abutters, whether you've talked to them or not, that these are the people that would be covered. These
Sure.
these
I mean,
landowners.
these include all the butters within 1,000 feet of the excavation. I can certainly...
All of them?
I believe so. There actually aren't that many butters within 1,000 feet of the actual excavation itself. But I can certainly review the butters which are within a specified distance from the project. Does the board have any particular distance that they're looking for, or something that may be reasonable?
I was wondering, is there any hydrology map that you can pull up for that area?
I can have Patrick Kerr talk about that. He's the engineer that
Oh, okay.
installed the monitoring wells.
Well, I'm just thinking if you're like trying to do a circumference, but it'd be nice to know where the groundwater flows.
Sure. We'll come up with a methodology and then a distance, and then at our next hearing, we'll come back with the board and tell you how we determine it then. Like I just discussed, Patrick Kerr is here. We have installed 3 monitoring wells at the site already to determine the current groundwater level, and they are going to be monitored on a quarterly basis to determine if our project actually changes the water levels. Patrick can give a brief discussion as to what he's already observed at the site. As part of a condition of this permit, we would also be responsible for the proposed effects of the work, which would include potential damage to the properties. We'd be willing to power wash homes or perform other necessary reasonable remediation to cause any damage caused by this project. And then finally, as I discussed, the excavation of the project will be exclusively wet mined. No pumping of the pond shall be allowed to accommodate excavation or removal of the material at the site. If the board does have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, or be happy to have Patrick or Mike chime in.
You guys have questions before I open this up?
Nope. We'll listen to...
I will have to study it a little more, but
The amount of sand you're pulling out is based on a 30-foot depth?
Correct.
You're not going to be able to make that, right, Mike?
That's been a concern that we've already addressed internally. We're going to do our best. We have the equipment to get 30 feet of depth. It's just a matter of the repose. Once it's underwater, it may start filling itself in, but we should be able to hit the target depth.
Okay.
Sorry, what was your name?
By hitting...
I'm sorry, Michael Diamond from Recco.
Hitting the aquifer, maybe?
Any other questions?
Just back to the, where the neighbor's wells, in whatever part of the process you're in, if there's a call to our board in regards to somebody concerned with their water, all of a sudden to change, then we'll reach out to you and you'll address it.
Correct. Also, as part of the consultation with the neighbors did hire John Barango from West End Well Drilling to look at the sites. So I did also have a conversation with him. Realistically, as long as they're all planning on using him, I think it'd actually be better if they contacted him directly, and then we could reach out, and it'd be faster for the residents to
But everybody
obtain
knows
relief.
everybody's contact.
He does a large amount of the plant wells in Carver, and is probably the best resource to get out there quickly. So just I'd probably recommend that. If he's going to be utilized by the neighbors, that'd be a point person, you can get out there quickly to address any issues.
Okay, good to know.
Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to open this up for public comments. I'm going to limit comments to 2 minutes. First, like to hear from any abutters. Are there? Yeah, please. Can you come up and
Sign in.
sign in?
Yes.
And then state your name and...
My first question is, the original plan that was brought before the board dealt with X amount of yardage removal. And I drew this, the conclusion was, this is what they needed to make their cranberry bogs viable, so they'd have enough water to be able to do their cranberry bogs. Having to reduce that to come in to compliance with the environmental issues. Are they going to come back to us again for another excavation and a water hole based on the fact that they did a study and determined that this is the amount of water that they needed? The second issue is, I'm concerned about my well, and I think most of the people that abut the old Deacon's property, I don't know any other way to describe it, are concerned about their wells also. I have a situation where a number of them work in the cranberry industry and don't want to be involved because they work in the cranberry industry and don't want to be singled out for bringing their issues to the table, but $25,000 to replace a well with an artesian well is not enough money to do one, I don't believe.
The way this is worded is an escrow will be out there for $25,000, but anything that's depleted, it has to get revamped back up.
Is there a cap to what?
There is no cap.
There's no cap, and actually, like I said, the abutters did reach out to West End Well Drilling directly themselves. John Branco came out with an estimate of approximately $12,000 for a well to be installed at the site. He's familiar with the area. He's installed almost all of the wells in this area. So in theory, it should be good enough to cover 2 wells at any given time that go bad.
So he is prepared to install an artesian well for $12,000.
He had a $12,000 estimate, which was provided to Don Egan, who's an abutter at the site. But definitely a valid concern. Originally, they were very concerned about the price. We didn't know how to determine a number, so they had an estimate prepared. And like I said, it came out to 12,000 emails, might be closer to 13,000. But the amount we picked of 25,000 was essentially sufficient to replace 2 wells in a given time. As a matter of history, I don't believe many wells have gone bad. Town of Carver has obviously had a lot of earth removal projects, but certainly if they do, we are willing to compensate the neighbors for that.
So I was going to add, if I could, is if the town's enforcing the wet dig method, it's almost going to be a moot point. We're going to be excavating the material, not the actual water itself. The water's going to stay in the ground.
So there's not going to be
it's not going to be a
channel to bring back water from the bogs?
It's going to be a long reach excavator reaching down and digging the material, piling it. Water will run back off into the ground. There's no pump.
But in the future, you're not going to drain your cranberry bogs back into this water source?
I can't speak as far as the farming practice in the future. I don't know what they're going to do agriculturally, but I was telling you excavation-wise.
That's what a tailwater recovery pond is.
Correct. I believe when as a part of our initial filing, the tailwater recovery will flow back into this pond. I believe how it was presented was that water will be pumped from both Dunham Pond only for flooding purposes, as well as this pond, and the tailwater will then flow into this tailwater recovery pond. Part of the point that we had at the original filing was the reliance upon Dunham Pond will be less than it is now currently. It will not be utilized for regular watering. However, for flooding, it will be utilized, and then this pond will be used for tailwater recovery.
Thank you. The next concern that I have is the traffic on Mayflower Road. As you know, it's a 25-mile-an-hour road. I understand that the applicant proposes to use the end where I don't live, which is great. But I have concern over the entrance and exit on that piece of Mayflower Road. It's heavily populated. for that short period of mile, half a mile. It appears that the applicant has frontage on Tremont Street and could bring himself out to a much more heavily trafficked road than Little Mayflower Road. The other thing I want to say is John Deacus and I had a discussion 40 years ago, and he wanted to put in the pond then. He just wanted to put it on my land, so we didn't get along. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other abutters? Okay. Anybody else like to speak?
My name is Pat Colleen from Copper Lantern Lane in Carver. I'd like to share the opening of the ERC's mission statement and purpose found in the town's bylaws and on its website. The purpose of this committee is to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the residents of the town of Carver. How is approving any more permits for sand removal in the town's best interest when there are currently 16 active sand mining sites in Carver? The existing sites put 800 trucks per day on our roads with significant silica dust blow-off from the constant flow of trucks in and out of the sites, and from the back of trucks as they travel along our roads. I frequently drive past 104 Tremont Street, where toxic silica dust blow-off forces me to close my car windows. How does allowing sand mining companies to falsely claim agricultural exemptions so they can pay considerably less taxes than they should help promote the general welfare of Carver's residents? Are the real profits from these sites coming from the sale of the cranberries or the sale of the sand, gravel, and boulders? These companies are making millions of dollars in sand with significant tax breaks, while Carver residents often struggle to pay their tax bills. How does risking the safety of our drinking water by stripping the earth that protects it provide our health, safety, and general welfare? Sand mining companies have been allowed to level hills and create ponds under the pretense of growing cranberries. And if their land can't support agriculture naturally, permits should not be allowed that significantly change our town's critical natural landscape. How can you claim that you're protecting our health, safety, and welfare when you allow companies to remove millions of cubic yards of sand for 5, 10, 15 plus years, sometimes with expired permits? And finally, how does holding your meetings at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which limits public participation, promote general welfare of this town?
Thank you. Catherine?
Thank you. Catherine Harrelson with Community Land and Water Coalition, a Plymouth-based nonprofit organization. The application for 448,000 cubic yards of earth removal at 0 Mayflower Road does not fall under the definition of agriculture. It falls under the definition of commercial mining according to the Town of Carver's earth removal bylaw. The first thing I'd like to do is to point out just inconsistencies with the farm conservation plan for this project. The first half of the farm conservation plan describes improvements to bogs, which claim to reduce the amount of water used by the operation. They have squared off several bogs, and because of this, they have applied for farm conservation credits. In 2023, they applied for 20 acres of farm conservation credits under the pretense that they've done so much water conservation that they should be allowed to put in 20 more acres of bogs under the current Water Management Act withdrawals. They then go on to say in their farm conservation plan, and this is under practice 449, irrigation, water management, and cranberries assessment. The water supply for the existing 112 acres is barely adequate. How can the water supply for the existing 112 acres be barely adequate if they're applying for 20 more acres of cranberry bogs under Water Management Act credits? It doesn't make sense. Second of all, this particular reservoir is nowhere in their farm conservation plan. They give 3 maps in the beginning which show some additional, where they want to put the additional 20 acres of cranberry bogs. There's 3 figures. This particular reservoir is nowhere on their figures. So it doesn't connect with the farm conservation credits that they're applying for. But then they go on in the second half under criteria 449 to give some options for additional water sources on the property. Alternative 2, construct a 5 to 7 acre irrigation tailwater recovery pond about 20 feet deep in a location central to Dunham Pond. Okay, so you think, okay, well, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the pond. This pond is not matching up with our farm conservation plan. This current pond is 7.5 acres. It's almost 30 feet deep, and they mention only 100 acre feet of water. By their own calculations in this report, this particular pond application would be over 150 acre feet of water. So this is nowhere in their farm conservation plan. If they've changed their water management practices, if they've changed what they plan to do with the farm, they should update their farm conservation plan to reflect that. Second of all, by the earth removal bylaw, this does not fall under their definition of agriculture. This falls under their definition of commercial mining. The business of extracting ore or earth minerals from the ground for sale or profit unless conditionally exempted. This doesn't meet the conditions for conditional exemption. If you go to the Wetlands Protection Act, normal improvement of land and agricultural use. Much of this particular area is not in agricultural use. It is forested upland. Second of all, this exemption for agriculture specifically states it does not include the removal of earth for sale, trade, or other considerations. The majority of this sand is for sale, trade, or other considerations. 390,000 cubic yards of this earth is going to be sold for commercial profit. Therefore, this is not agriculture. It falls under the definition of commercial mining under the Carver Earth Removal Bylaw. It is not conditionally exempt, and we urge you not to issue a permit. Thank you.
Thank you for hearing me today, members of the committee. My name is Michelle Hatfield. I'm a resident of Duxbury, Massachusetts. I live about 25 minutes away. I'd like to share a story from my life that takes place here in Carver. One day last spring, my daughter had a soccer game in Carver. My husband and I enjoyed the ride out here, a warm spring morning. The girls had a great game on a lush grass field surrounded by trees. As we left the field, we immediately noticed the wind had picked up and sand was blowing everywhere. As we drove out of the wooded area, we closed the car windows and wondered aloud what was going on. I remember feeling very glad that I was driving because my husband was being reminded of sandstorms from his tours in Iraq. And when that happens, he can get upset. His hands were shaking. At the time, I didn't know my daughter might have been inhaling crystalline silica particles blown from the sand mines deeply into her lungs while she ran hard playing soccer that day. Respirable crystalline silica is a byproduct of sand mining and rock crushing and is very dangerous to human health. Once you breathe it in, there is no therapy or treatment to get it out of the body. Like a microscopic shard of glass, the crystalline particles cut into the delicate tissue lining the lungs, the esophagus. Microscopic particles can even enter the bloodstream. Inhaling crystalline silica over and over year after year is likely to cause serious health issues. Problems with the respiratory and cardiovascular systems, as well as kidney problems, can result from inhaling respirable crystalline silica particles. I urge you not to issue any more earth removal permits. There's a problem here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't finish this. It comes from all the pits that are open. There are 16 active mines. Each sand is different. That's
Yeah. Sand goes from...
It's not the kind you can breathe in.
It's sand dust we're talking about, invisible sand dust. Regulated by the Fire Safety and Health Administration. As you guys well know, because...
Pass every single test.
I'm sure you do, but what about the residents that are breathing the dust next to your pits?
It's all about the money.
Pass every single test.
Oh, did you test those houses around your pits?
Typically, there'd be more sand in the general area that we're working. So all the time, the houses we pass, we comply with all federal, state, and local level laws.
So we're having to agree to put
We can't have a discussion.
We have somebody that would like to speak.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Abigail Tropiano, and I am a law student with Community Land and Water Coalition. I have prepared excerpts from the expert testimony of Scott Horsley, which we submitted 5 copies of to the ERC on Sunday. I have over 40 years of professional experience in the field of water resources management and on a broad range of water contamination and restoration projects. I have served as an expert witness in state and federal courts as a hydrologist. This proposed project does not represent normal, necessary agricultural operations, represents a threat to downgradient private drinking water supply wells, and should not be exempted from a detailed and formal review by the Carver regulatory boards. This project does not qualify for an exemption in the Carver earth removal bylaw. The applicant has not provided any water demand/supply calculations to justify the need for a reservoir or its aerial and depth dimensions, nor any quantitative analysis or justification provided showing the required demands exceed the capacity of the other 8 currently approved water sources, nor for the dimensions of the proposed reservoir. It seems that the true intent of the project is to avoid the well-founded regulatory requirements of the Commonwealth to protect wetland resources and drinking water supplies associated with the sole source aquifer. This aquifer is highly sensitive due to the high permeability of the native soils. Maintaining a vertical buffer between land uses and activities and the underlying groundwater is widely accepted as minimal protection. Without this vertical buffer, groundwater and downgradient drinking water wells are highly vulnerable to contamination. The creation of a tailwater pond will concentrate pollutants, including fertilizers, pesticides, and could be a source of pathogens, including bird flu, associated with waterfowl. According to the records that I have reviewed, no information regarding groundwater flow directions, primary recharge areas, or alternative and available water sources was provided by the applicant. This constitutes a violation of the minimum requirements under the bylaw and should warrant a comprehensive review of water quality impacts. Thank you.
Thank you.
40 years.
She's only 20 years old.
Community Land and Water Coalition urges the board to deny this permit. This project is not exempt from the Wetlands Protection Act. Just to give a little bit of the history, the prior project was closer to the wetlands on the eastern side, and so Community Land and Water Coalition filed what's called a request for determination of applicability with the Carver Conservation Commission that said, yes, this project is in the buffer zone, it is not exempt agriculture, therefore it requires an order of conditions. Rather than comply with the Wetlands Protection Act and the Carver Wetlands Bylaw and submit that permit application and submit this project to regulatory review under state and federal law, the applicant, AGDA, simply tried to move the project to the west out of the buffer zone. Well, there's one slight problem, because where they moved it to is also in the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. They might not think so, but our wetlands experts and I myself have confirmed that there is a bordering vegetated wetland, which is a resource area that is protected under the Wetlands Protection Act, and they require an order of conditions permit from the Carver Conservation Commission. So we will be going back to the Conservation Commission again and filing another request for determination of applicability for this project. And the Wetlands Protection Act doesn't just protect wetlands. Wetlands filter and protect the underground aquifer. It's one of the interests that is protected under our state law. We have seen these companies time and again evade the Wetlands Protection Act and mine in the aquifer. This is a project that is dredging sand and gravel in the aquifer after they take down the hill, just like Mr. Weston is doing after he took down that hill with absolutely no justification whatsoever for the need for that water. That permit application, like I said, I was sitting here, that was a complete fraud, and it is today. How many projects have you allowed to dredge in the aquifer? You allowed Makepeace to dredge a 19-acre pond on Hammond Street. You're allowing Mr. Pontiff to dredge in the aquifer out at 104 Tremont Street. You can look at the drones and you can see that his excavation in violation of your own permit and plans is dredging in the aquifer. Bog number 1 is flooded with water. Yes, it is, Mr. Shores. I can show you the drone photo. So he's dredging in the aquifer. Mr. Pontiff has been dredging in the aquifer in other locations. What is this? Tailwater recovery ponds for which there is no agricultural justification, simply a justification for sand and gravel mining? Since you're taking down the hills, now you have to go below grade to excavate sand and gravel out of our aquifer. That is taking away part of the aquifer. How much longer are you going to allow this to continue? Over $1 billion by our calculations has been taken out of Carver in sand and gravel since you've been sitting on this board the last 30 years. Your fee increases hardly are in proportion to the damage to the environment that this industry is causing to your town. There's probably $1 billion permit fee that should be required in order to remedy the damage to the environment. And we've served the Earth Removal Committee with 1 damage to the environment notice of intent to sue letter under our citizen suit law, damage to the environment 214-7A, for all of the damage by SLT and Mr. Ryko here over at Spring Street. Air pollution, polluting Ricketts Pond and the wetlands for over 8 years with dust on the ice. Photographs that residents bring to me, or as recently as 2025, dust all over Ricketts Pond. Dredging in the aquifer there, dumping, open pit mines that cause dust clouds all over Route 44.
Meg,
what are you going to do about
Can we
this?
just stay, we understand everything you've been saying, but can we stay focused just on this public hearing on this permit, please?
Yes, this permit is directly related to those other projects because there is such a thing as called cumulative damage to everyone's environment, not just Mayflower Road. They're intersecting an aquifer that harms 200,000 people. 200,000 people drink out of the sole source aquifer. Are you going to let them add to the damage from all these other projects that you've been allowing for the last 30 years? Where's the $1 billion? How much are they going to make off of this? 8, 10, 15 million? And what, you're going to get a $1,000 permit fee? And what, some 25 cents a cubic yard? And a sketchy promise to replace people's wells? Where's the bond? Where are they going to be in 15 years after the project is done and the wells go dry?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes.
I think we're all probably aware of PFAS these days.
I'm sorry, can I get your name?
Annie Hayes, sorry. It was here that I first heard the word PFAS about 3 years ago. Didn't know what it was, started looking into it. And from that, I learned about the history of 3M that made PFAS to coat tanks to make them more durable.
Can we keep the comments to this specific project, please?
It is. And so what I'm bringing that up for is that now we know how PFAS has contaminated the planet, not just Carver or Wareham or a specific site. We now have, and that it's taken decades to get the evidence and persist at it. And this is what these folks count on. They know that they're not going to be medical records, most likely, of silicosis, or silicosis without a smoker having silicosis, which complicates the issue. So they can walk away. I don't know how long you have a contract with them or would have a contract with them to be liable for damage, not only $12,000 to $13,000 to replace a well. What if the well is an old well? Are they going to replace it with an old well? I mean, that cost is ridiculous. What about testing? When they say they're testing the air and pass everything, they have just come up with the equipment to have electron microscopes of the silica particles in your air. It's Carver. Just as they have just come up with the equipment to know that we have about 5 water bottle caps of microplastics, nanoplastics in our brain. And you've heard of the 240 microplastics that were supposed to be in a liter of water bottle, liter plastic bottle of water. And then last summer, they learned it was 240,000 microparticles. And recently they said, no, it's 90% of those 240,000 are nanoparticles. And when you talk about seeing a cloud of dust, you don't see nanoparticles. They're everywhere right now, most likely in this room. It's not a little puff of a cloud that you're going to see. And if they're dredging wet, I don't know what that means. Do they load up wet so that it's an extra heavy load and then it
No, it means
drains
they
out?
can't dewater.
No.
Mike, you have a comment?
Yeah, I'm sorry, this
They-
project that we're
they
proposing
can't do water?
has no PFAS on it.
I'm not talking
It's
about
not related
PFAS.
to
I'm talking
the
about
Mayflower.
silica. I'm talking about
I'm talking-
silica nanoparticles, not PFAS. This is not the same thing. But we found out, as in PFAS, that we can now measure these things. And so I don't even know if you folks have seen this. Have you seen the photograph of silica compared to a chart of 200 nanoparticles? Do you know what a nanoparticle is? It's a billionth of a meter. A billionth of a meter. This is 200. This has got to be less than 10. 10 nanoparticles, yes.
We don't mean to be disrespectful, or I don't mean to be disrespectful to
I don't
you.
either.
And I just feel that we need to kind of stay focused on...
I want to show you, this is from Carver. These are from Carver. Will you accept me showing you these? Okay, great.
And the only thing I can take from what you're sharing with us, that we can educate ourselves a little better and maybe put a little bit more teeth into a project.
I like that. This is science that really has to be applied to every project in the environment these days. We are destroying our planet, and science is the answer. Not tradition, science.
May I have a copy?
I'm going to give everybody one.
Do you have anything more you would like to say on this particular project?
I would like to emphasize what you said. More teeth, more knowledge, more research, more science. If folks here hadn't come, would you know what you know now? I wouldn't have, because I learn every time I hear someone speak.
Every day we learn something.
To the science, to the facts, not the developers and what they would like you to see, because they're making a lot of money.
Is there anybody else? As long as you sign in. You can come up to the table. There's a sign-in sheet there.
I've got to collect them again because it's a card can.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a guy in the back.
There's a lot of lines here.
Yeah, you just got line 15, on the left is your name.
Okay.
And then this would be your street address.
Okay.
I didn't see.
Friend?
Okay, my name is Richard William Butts. I'm a geologist. I've heard a lot of arguments today, a lot of good ones. But with the case of 0 Mayflower Road, I think that PFAS, well, certainly wouldn't be their fault, but it may be in the wells. I don't know. I haven't been to that particular spot. I haven't been to any of these spots, honestly. But the case, well, they wet the soil so that there wouldn't be silica dust in the air. That is my understanding. So I'm more of a bedrock geologist, honestly, but I'm learning about sand geology. So those are my couple of thoughts about 0 Mayflower Road. You gave the best case that I've heard so far, so I appreciate that. Thank you. I think there's a lot of work to be done with each case, but I'm still learning about it. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go back.
Hi, my name is Aaron Keaton. I want to use my time today to talk a little bit about this project, but the cumulative impact of sand mining in Carver, which does have to do with this permit, because this is another permit that is going to continue to add and add and add to the total amount of sand and gravel that has been pulled out of this region. So this project requests nearly 500,000 cubic yards of sand and gravel to be removed, and it poses serious threats to the community's drinking water and nearby wells, as we've heard from many residents. There are already 16 active mines in Carver, 11 which are actively mining into the aquifer. This has been going on for decades. Since 1990, more than 110 sand and gravel mines have stripped over 3,000 acres of forest in our region, much of it here in Carver. Over the past 3 decades, nearly $1 billion worth of sand and gravel has been excavated in this region, and likely more. There's no real testing or accounting for this earth removal that is going on. We even heard earlier there are debates about how much sand and gravel has actually been taken out. So we really have no idea how much has been really taken out. This industry has destroyed over 1,000 acres of core and priority habitat, devastated rare pine barren ecosystems, and brought endless traffic, noise, and dust into residential neighborhoods. Since 2021, at least 60 individual complaints have been submitted by Carver residents to local boards like this and organizations like the one I am part of, Community Land and Water. These include photos, videos of people having their homes, cars, pools, porches, and yards covered with silica sand dust. Residents say they can't open their windows, can't garden, or go outside. Reports of sand have been on ponds, wells drying up, constant noise and traffic. And this is not an isolated event or from one site. This is happening all over Carver and the surrounding region. It's a decades-long pattern of environmental harm, and this is hurting our residents and our homes and our ecosystems. When are we going to stop allowing sand mining? It harms our residents, and we keep coming to these meetings, permit after permit, and they seem to just get rubber stamped through. And I just want to know, when is enough? I urge the Earth Removal Committee to deny this project and all the other ones that were on the agenda tonight to protect our drinking water, our air quality, and our environment.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you all for your comments. I think we need a motion to continue this.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Please.
Sorry, we didn't see you.
That's okay. My glasses on. I think I'm supposed to write my name and then sign it. Is that what this looks like?
Name the next square over or rectangle over is the address.
Make it long enough in front, that's me. My name's Patricia Domus, and I live on Mayflower Road, and this has been a very enlightening meeting.
I used to speak to Mr. Deacus over the years when they would dump cranberries and stuff down at the bogs, and we'd have problems with smells and all other kind of things. And he was always wonderful about listening to the residents. Mayflower Road is a very narrow road. When I'm walking my grandchildren or the dog, I have to run off the road. We had an accident a number of years ago where a truck hit on the edge of the road. It hit a cement mixer and it almost killed a man. It's a very narrow, windy road. I'm very concerned about the trucks, the speed. I've yelled at cars, I've yelled at trucks. I don't mind doing that, but it's a difficult sometimes road that, and now we have a lot of campers on that road, a lot of campers from the Jellystone. But my concern is, from over the years, we could tell when certain things are going on at the bogs. I mean, I'm on the 58 end, because the smell, the wind, the sand, different things. So it is important for this committee to really listen to the people. And what I found today that I thought was interesting, I've lived here 47 years on Mayflower Road. I think that's pretty interesting. I remember finding out how our water was polluted from good old Boston dumping their stuff here all those years ago. And this reminds me of what I'm hearing from different people. We're gonna look back on this 50 years from now and wonder if we made a lot of mistakes in this town. Just like when we allowed the dumping. It's maybe time to start looking at things a little differently, as you had said. It makes sense because things change. We learn more. We know so much more today than we knew 20 years ago. When I moved in this town, there were 7 pizza stores and 7 liquor stores. I'm not kidding you. I said, where in God's name did I move to? But I do love it here. But after sitting here tonight, my son has been wanting to move. He lives 2 houses from me because he complains of a lot of things that go on in this town that aren't healthy. And this is right up there with them. You have to wonder. We do have to look at what we're doing in a new light. Because it's now, you know, we look back what we did, what was our legacy to our town, to our grandkids. It's really important. So I just wanted to say that, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate all that the board does. It's not easy to be in the public eye.
Can I give you some reassurance with technology now? And luckily, we do have an email address that you can share your concerns. And as of now, we have an agent on our committee that if there's a phone-in call from a resident, we'll have somebody out there within 24 hours. And if it's really bad, they will send the police. So it's just, you have to, instead of sitting and not saying anything and letting it accumulate and bother you, just pick up the phone.
Well, it's hard to live on a little road. I can't take a
That's a
walk
tough
on my
road,
street.
yeah.
That's why I'd like to move. I live on a street where I can't take a walk. My life is in my hands because there are no sidewalks and the way people drive in their cell phones, it's really tough. I didn't think of that when I moved there 47 years ago. I'd love to take a walk.
The contractors have to go by some rules and regulations, and they, for the most part, are very respectful to the residents. You just have to remind them, like your kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Need a motion to continue this to the next meeting?
Yeah. I'll make a motion to continue 0 Mayflower Road, map 122, which will clarify, lots 2, 4, 10, and 18 to our next meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Okay, now I need a motion to adjourn.
And we do have a sidewalk Saturday, correct?
Sidewalk on Saturday.
Thank you.
9 o'clock. We'll start at Mayflower Road, then we'll go up to Fuller Street.
Make the motion, we adjourn.
I second that motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
Thank you, guys.